Created by Jedi Masters Mace Windu and Sora Bulk as a new variation of Form 7, Vaapad was an extremely powerful and aggressive form of lightsaber combat. Vaapad's power came just as much from the wielder's state of mind as from the fighting style alone. The user was permitted to channel their own inner darkness into the duel, thereby dismissing the tenets of Jedi restraint and allow themselves to come dangerously close to the dark side. The dangerous dark side elements of Vaapad wasn't merely theory, as Jedi Masters Bulk and Deepa Billaba fell to the dark side as a result of using the fighting style, with Quinlan Vos coming dangerously close to the dark side, having engaged with Vaapad as well. Importantly, these Jedi represented the vast majority of Vaapad practitioners, further demonstrating the risk of Vaapad having required the practitioner to open the gates that restrained a Jedi's inner darkness. But if there was a significant risk of falling to the dark side while using Vaapad, how was Mace Windu able to avoid and prevent this fall while using the fighting style? In this video expose, I will explain why Mace didn't fall to the dark side by using Vaapad, due to the events that transpired on his homeworld during the Clone War. Roughly 6 months after the first Battle of Geonosis and the start of the Clone War, Mace was given the mission to go to his homeworld of Harun Kal to track down and retrieve his former Padawan, Jedi Master Deepa Billaba. The retrieval of Deepa was necessary, as the Jedi Master had committed questionable acts and atrocities in fighting the war there, having succumbed to the dark side as a result of the terror she witnessed, and due to her being corrupted through channeling her inner darkness through the use of Vaapad. As Mace's only student who he taught Vaapad to, Deepa became a master in the fighting style, with Mace ultimately coming to recognize that her mastery of Vaapad in many ways exceeded his own, wherein she was virtually unbeatable in combat. Having fought his way to his fallen former Padawan, Mace found Deepa in a state of unconsciousness. However, Deepa's incapacitation was merely a ruse, as she surprised her former master by impaling him with her lightsaber. Mace was able to avoid being wounded mortally by turning off Deepa's lightsaber, but once they separated, Mace understood that he had no choice but to engage his former apprentice in lightsaber combat, as she'd been seduced and consumed by the dark side. Mace and Deepa engaged each other in a particularly ferocious and deadly duel, wherein they each pitted their own mastery of Vaapad against each other. After each combatant unleashed a number of deadly strikes, Deepa was able to land another blow to Mace's chest, which although shallow, did cause injury. At this point, Mace realized that if he was going to defeat Deepa, he would have to give himself over to the dark side completely to bring the full power of Vaapad to bear against her. However, Mace also realized that this would cause him to fall to the dark side as well, just as Deepa and Sora Bulk did. Through his enlightenment and recognizing that he was fighting someone who was like a daughter to him, Mace made the decision to reject the dark side, and really, the fight altogether, deactivating his lightsaber and conceding the duel to Deepa. Importantly, Mace faced his fears of the dark side and chose the light. However, just before Deepa brought her lightsaber to bear upon Mace to deliver a killing blow, she too came to recognize the darkness of her actions, and upon seeing what she'd become, deactivated her lightsaber as well. Mace's decisions in his duel with Deepa, as well as further spiritually facing the dark side and rejecting it, while continuing to battle against Kar Vastor on Harun Kal, left an important and lasting impression upon Mace. The importance of Mace's trials upon his homeworld in relation to why he was able to avoid falling to the dark side while using Vaapad can be seen within the Revenge of the Sith novelization, particularly during his duel with Darth Sidious. Without the experiences with his former apprentice, it's not difficult to foresee Mace's fall to the dark side while employing Vaapad against the Dark Lord of the Sith. As described in the novelization, Mace had completely submerged himself within the fighting style, having been consumed so fully by Vaapad that he was no longer an independent being. Mace allowed the dark side to fully channel through him, whereby he allowed Sidious's rage and power to consume him in order to redirect that power back against the Sith Lord. The events of Harun Kal directly prevented the dark side from corrupting him during his duel with Sidious. As the novelization describes, his trials on Harun Kal allowed Mace to face his inner darkness and to reject his fear of it, thereby granting him the insight that the dark side was not something that should be feared. In doing so, Mace understood that it was fear that gave the dark side its power, and since he wasn't afraid of it, the dark side had no power over him. Because Mace learned to let go of his fear of the dark side on Harun Kal, he was able to prevent the darkness from consuming him, and wield it for the purposes of Vaapad and nothing else. Therefore, it was Mace's spiritual trials in facing the dark side on Harun Kal, wherein he learned that he didn't have to fear the dark side, and thereby prevented empowering it, that allowed Mace to avoid falling to the dark side by using Vaapad, separating him from practitioners like Deepa Billaba and Sora Bulk. So there we have it, why Mace Windu didn't fall to the dark side by using Vaapad. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for Nick Rostu.